Ya ne? Bakin kashe yana losing sound of money from
sound in ƙarshe.
To ya ne abin?
Ko an ta ƙara shi.
To muka aje abin nan. Wani shi wajen kashe fuska? Okay. Okay, mutu ne na ko? Okay.
Good morning, dear sir. Good morning, sir. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Kana jina yanzu?
Ina jin karanka da ya aiki.
Lafiya lau, kana jina yanzu ko?
Ina jin ka sosai.
To alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Kana gari?
Ina gari
Kana Okay. Okay, a to yana da kyau. Ni ma ina gari.
To na gode kwarai, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Fara ba ai.
Za
fara ba?
11 ba?
11.
To ba damuwa kila bai doka time.
Abun ba da time.
Guy. Thank you very much. Okay, mutu ne a zasa kensa. Minuto. Educa, pardon. Baru nambah. Ya koi. Ya kan. Dale, dale. Udah hara, itu kecil.
Gudan abin da ɗanɗo haka na kamar logo aka karkare wani abu. To guda shi ya ɗin guda ce akwai abin da ɗin bana ɗin ya kone zai je can nan ya zai. Bari a bashi kuɗin kawo kamar ɗari ya fi.
Ba shi ya saki. Oh.
directors for the proactive guidelines, and
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, sir. Yeah.
The number you've called for is not answering. Try later. Goodbye.
You are on mute, sir. You are on mute.
the report of the proxy forms received before we proceed with the meeting.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, directors of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC. Good morning, distinguished shareholders. For this annual general meeting, we received a total of 837 proxies for 1,490,259,489 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, representing 65.2% of total share capital of the company. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I've been informed by the company secretary that we have a quorum for this meeting in accordance with section 2321 of CAMA. I therefore declare this meeting open. I now call on the safety manager of Chartered Institute of Bankers to take us through the safety and security process. Safety manager, please.
Good morning. Welcome to the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. My name is Olatunji Oshinaike. I'm the ICT manager and also doubling as your health and safety manager today for the AGM. You are welcome, sir. You're welcome, ma. So we are provided in view of the COVID-19 pandemic ongoing. We have ensured that every person coming into this building uses their face mask, and we also provided hand sanitizers at the entrances and entrance and exit of every room in this building. We've also ensured that before you can come into the building, you must wash your hands and also sanitize with the body temperature taken at the entrance. Also, part of that is that we have the entrance and the exit, two exits and exits in this room, which can be used for emergency situations. We also have a fire extinguisher, which is well serviced, which would work in case of any fire emergencies. We also enjoin you to please use the staircase at any point where there's any fire emergency or an emergency of any type. Please do not use the elevators. We also enjoin you to please maintain social distancing, which is currently being observed in this room, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a lovely meeting.
Okay, thank you. I will now introduce you to the directors of the bank. And I will start with myself, my humble self. My name is Azubu Kojoel Oda. I'm a DIG retired. For those other directors that are here physically, I want to introduce Aminu Salepai, who is also here. the Managing Director of NPF Microfinance Bank, Mr. Kinwumi Lawal, is here. The ED Operations, Executive Director Operations of the bank, Mr. John Tize. The Executive Director of Finance and Admin of the bank is also here, Mr. Francis Nelson. The other directors that are connected virtually are as follows. Mr. Mohammed S. Said, Deputy DIG Saliu Hashim Argungu, retired.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Abdurrahman Satumari, Mrs. Rakia Edota Shehu, Mr. Jibril G. Gani, Mr. Usman Issa Baba, finally, we have the company secretary, Mrs. O.J. Idemudia here. So please take note that the profiles of all directors are contained in pages 14 to 18 of the annual report. I also wish to recognize the profiles. I also wish to recognize the presence of some major shareholders, stakeholders, and invitees in the audience. The chairman of the audit committee, Chief Timothy Adesian. The registrar of the bank, represented by Mr. Ayola Adeola. The external auditors, represented by Mr. Onochie Izuebu. The consultant on board appraisal, DCSL, Corporate Service Limited, represented by Mr. Ibrahim Alagbe. Other regulators joining us virtually are the Central Bank, the Security and Exchange Commission, represented by Amina Tanko. I want to acknowledge the presence of 4 of our distinguished shareholders who are also here as proxies to others. Number 1 is Samosu Sunday Namde, represented by Temid Dola Durojaye. Yes, thank you. Mr. Boniface Okezie, Mr. Adeshina Tajuddin Imra, Mrs. Obideyi Efuyemi Olatunde. I will now call on this company secretary to read the notice of the meeting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Notice of annual general meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 26th annual general meeting of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC will hold at the council chambers, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Plot 19, Adiola Hopewell Street, Victoria Island, Lagos State, on Tuesday, 30th June 2020 at 11 a.m. to transact the following business. Ordinary business, to receive the audited financial statements for the period ended December 31, 2019, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, and statutory audit committee thereon. 2, to declare a dividend. 3, to re-elect the following retiring directors. A, Mr. Mohammed D. Sahid. B, Mr. Azibuko Joel Uda. C, Mr. Jibril Galba Gane. 4, to approve the appointment of Mr. Aminu Saleh Pai as a non-executive director. 5, to approve the appointment of Mr. John Kwebe Tise as an executive director. 6, to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. And 7, to elect members of the audit committee. Proxy. All members are advised that following government directives restricting public gathering due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the bank has obtained the approval of the Corporate Affairs Commission to hold our AGM by proxy to minimize physical contact and ensure public health and safety. Shareholders are required to appoint a proxy of their choice from the list of nominated proxies below. They are Mr. Zubiko J. Uda, Mr. Akin Milawa, Mr. Nwosu Sunday Nnamdi, Mr. Boniface Okezie, Mr. Adeshino Tajudeen Ima, Mrs. Obideyi Efunyemi Olatunde. A blank proxy form is attached to the annual report and may also be downloaded from the bank's website at www.npfmicrofinancebank.com. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at the annual general meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy to attend and vote in his stead. A proxy need not be a member of the company. For the appointment to be valid, shareholders are required to submit their completed proxy forms in line with the Corporate Affairs Commission's guidelines to the Office of the Company Secretary, NPF Microfinance Bank, PLC, Aliyu Atta House, number 1, Ikoyi Road, Balende, Lagos, or send soft copies to info@npfmicrofinancebank.com or registrars at cardinalstone.com not later than 24th June 2020 to enable the bank stamp the proxy forms at the bank's expense. Notes: payment of dividend. If the dividend recommended by the directors is approved by members at the annual general meeting, the dividend shall be paid on 30th June 2020 to shareholders whose names are registered in the register of members at the close of business on 16th June 2020. 2, closure of register of members. The register of members and transfer books will be closed on 17th June 2020 to 22nd June 2020, both days inclusive, to enable the registrar prepare for payment of dividend. 3, unclaimed dividend warrants. Some unclaimed dividend warrants have remained unclaimed. Some dividend warrants have remained unclaimed or are yet to be presented. Governance of the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and Central Bank of Nigeria provides that members of the audit committee should have basic financial literacy and be knowledgeable in internal control process. We therefore request that nominations be accompanied by a copy of the nominees' curriculum material. Annual reports. The electronic version of the annual report is available on www.npfmicrofinancebank.com. Report via email. Additionally, shareholders who are interested in receiving the electronic version of the annual report may request via email to registrar@cardinalstone.com. Biographic details of directors. The profile of all directors submitted for re-election or approval are contained in the annual reports. Live streaming of the AGM. The AGM will be streamed live. This will enable shareholders and other stakeholders who will not be attending physically to follow the proceedings. The link for the AGM live streaming will be made available at the company's website on www.npfmicrofinancebank.com. Rights of shareholders to ask questions. Shareholders reserve the right to ask questions not only at the annual general meeting, but also in writing prior to the meeting on any item contained in the annual reports and accounts. Such questions should be addressed to the company secretary, NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, Aliyu Atta House, number 1, Ikoyi Road, Obalende, Lagos, or info@npfmicrofinancebank.com on or before 23rd June 2020. By order of the board, signed by Osaro J. Idemudia, Company Secretary, Legal Advisor. FRC 2013 MBA number 0000002319, 1 Ikoyi Road, Obalende, Lagos, dated 11th day of May 2020. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now come to the chairman's statement. My statement, eh? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So in line with the notice of the meeting and our 2019 annual report and accounts, shareholders will be asked to consider each agenda item, and you have opportunity to second each motion put to the meeting. There will be an opportunity for questions on the motion before votes are taken. I therefore request that whenever you ask any question, propose or second the motion, kindly speak clearly into the microphone, placed in front of each person present, stating your names. Adoption of the accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to the first item of the agenda, and that is to receive the audited financial statements of the bank for the year ended 31st December 2019, and the reports of the directors, auditors, and statutory audit committees thereon. I call on the representative of the auditors, Messrs. KPMG Professional Services, to present their report, which has been circulated to members along with the accounts for the year ended 31st December 2019, and now laid before you as required by law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please, with the permission and also that of the shareholders, I would like to read a summarized version of the opinion. But what I will be reading now will contain the opinion, the basis for opinion, and report on other legal and regulatory requirements. Report on the audit of the financial statement. Opinion. We have audited the financial statement of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2019, and the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of changes in equities, and statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes comprising significant accounting policies and other explanatory information as set out on pages 45 to 105 of the annual report. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statement give a true and fair view of the financial position of the bank as at 31st December 2019 and of its financial performance and its cash flow for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard, IFRS, and in a manner required by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C-20, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act, 2011, the Banks and Other Financial Institution Act, Cap B3, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, and relevant Central Bank of Nigeria guidelines and circulars. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the International Standards on Auditing, ISA. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We are independent of the bank in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants Codes of Ethics for Professional Accountants, IESBA code, together with the ethical requirements that are relevant to our audit of the financial statement in Nigeria, and we have fulfilled all our ethical responsibilities in accordance with these requirements and the IESBA code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. Compliance with the requirements of Schedule 6 of the Company and Allied Matters Act, Cap C-20, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004. In our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the bank so far as appears from our examination, and those books and the bank's statement of financial position and the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of account. Compliance with Section 27, subsection 2 of the Banks and Other Financial Institution Act, Cap B3, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, and Central Bank of Nigeria Circular BSD/1/2004. The bank did not pay penalties in respect of contraventions of the Banks and Other Financial Institution Act, Cap B3, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2004, during the year ended 31st December 2019. Secondly, related party transaction and balances are disclosed in Note 26 to the financial statement in compliance with the Central Bank Circular BSD/1/2004. Signed, Ayodele H. Otiewa, FCA, FRC number FRC/201/ICANN/000000425 for KPMG Professional Services Chartered Accountant, dated 27 March 2020, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. The audit committee reports. In accordance with the provisions of Section 3594 of CAMA 2004, the auditors submitted their report to the audit committee, which duly examined the report and, being satisfied, rendered the certification already circulated to all shareholders. I now call on the chairman of the audit committee, Chief Timothy Adesina, to present the report of the committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Distinguished, eminent, and erudite members of the board of NPF Microfinance Bank, Nigerian PLC, regulatory authorities representatives, members of the press, fellow shareholders, both present and at home, watching in obedience with laws on combating the notorious pandemic COVID-19 now ravaging the world. I hereby present the report of the Statutory Audit Committee of NPF Microfinance Bank, which is contained on page 38 of the annual report, and I present as follows. In accordance with Section 359, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Council 20 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, we, the members of the Audit Committee of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, report as follows. We have reviewed the scope and planning of the audit requirements, and we found them adequate. We have reviewed the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019 and are satisfied with the explanations obtained in response to our queries. We reviewed the external auditor's management letter for the year ended 31st December 2019 and management responses thereto, and are satisfied that management is taking appropriate steps to address the issues raised. We have reviewed all insider-related credits as defined by Section 20, subsection 2 of the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act, Cap B3, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and confirmed that the bank disclosed all such credits and that they were reported in line with the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN guidelines. Specifically, we are satisfied that the bank has complied with the provisions of the Central Bank of Nigeria Circular BSD/1/204, dated 18th February 2004, on disclosure of insider-related credits in the financial statements of banks. We hereby confirm that an aggregate amount of 108,214,000 was outstanding as at 31st December 2019. 31 December 2018, 115,594,000, which 36,211,000 was non-performing. 31 December 2018, nil. See note 26B, Roman figure 2, to the financial statements. We ascertained that the accounting and reporting policies of the bank for the year ended 31st December 2019 are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. The external auditors confirmed having received full cooperation from management in the course of their statutory audit, presented by me, Chief Timothy Additional, Chairman Audit Committee, FRC/2013/IODN/0000003745, dated 23rd March 2020. Other members of the Audit Committee are Alhaji Abdul Quadri Sani, Alhaji Mr. Abdurrahman Satumari, Mrs. O.I. Ijemudia, Company Secretary, acted as a secretary to the company. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Board appraisal report. Ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with the provisions of the various codes of corporate governance, the board engaged the services of an external consultant to carry out an evaluation of the board's performance as a whole, the performance of its committees, and that of individual directors for the year ended 31st December 2019. The full report of the evaluation has been considered by the board with a view to addressing the identified shortcomings and a copy submitted to the Central Bank of Nigeria. I now call on the representative of DCSL Corporate Services Limited, Mr. Ibrahim Alagbe, to present their report on the appraisal of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, directors and distinguished shareholders. I'll be reading from page 37 of the annual report. Report of the external consultants on the performance of the board of directors of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC for the year ended 31st December 2019. DCSL Corporate Services Limited was engaged by NPF Microfinance Bank PLC to undertake an appraisal of its board of directors for the year ended 31st December 2019, in line with the provisions of Section 15.1 of the Securities and Exchange Commission Code of Corporate Governance, Section 14.1 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, Section 2.81 and 2.82 of the Code of Corporate Governance for Microfinance Banks, and global best practices on corporate governance. The appraisal entailed a review of the bank's corporate and statutory documents, the minutes of the board and committee meetings, policies, and other auxiliary documents made available to us. We also administered electronic surveys and conducted interviews with the directors to ascertain the level of the board's compliance with the provisions of the SEC, CBN, and NCG codes, relevant legislation, as well as global best practice. In undertaking the appraisal, we considered 7 key corporate governance areas as follows. 1, board structure and composition. 2, strategy and planning. 3, board operations and effectiveness. 4, measuring and monitoring of performance. 5, risk management and compliance. 6, corporate citizenship. And 7, transparency and disclosure. In the wake of increased regulatory scrutiny and attention to the practice of good governance practices by companies to ensure compliance with laws and regulations and forestall corporate failures, effective corporate governance has become critical to the proper functioning of not only companies, but the Nigerian economy as a whole. Our review of the corporate governance practices and procedures in place at NPF Microfinance Bank PLC indicates that the board is well on the path to ensuring compliance with the provisions of the CBN, SEC, and the Nigerian Codes of Corporate Governance, relevant legislation, and international best practices. We affirm and commend the board's commitment towards ensuring best practices and ensuring that the principles of sound corporate governance practice are embedded in all aspects of the bank's activities and operations. We have identified some areas of improvement and made recommendations which, if implemented, will further assist in strengthening the corporate governance culture and practice in the bank and better position it towards achieving its strategic objectives in the short and long term. In the interest of the bank's stakeholders, we urge the board to give due consideration to the recommendations contained in our report. Yours faithfully, for DCSL Corporate Services Limited, signed BC Adeyemi, Managing Director, FRC/2013/MBA 2716. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Members are now free.
Announcement.
Sir? Okay, sir.
The chairman of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, directors of this great company, fellow distinguished shareholder, good morning. My name is Okezia Boniface, the national chairman, Progressive Shareholder Association of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, I need to commend this bank for the great performance of 2019 financial year that ended at 1st December 2019. Mr. Chairman, this is a great performance in view of the history of the bank that we have reached 1 billion profit in the last 5 years. Despite the headwind, despite the slowed economy performance, this bank has performed very, very well, excellently. Mr. Chairman, if we look at financial highlight on page 3, shareholder will agree with me that from 2018, 2.9 billion to 3.2979 billion. That's a great performance. Increase of 10.78%. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the profit before taxation, you can agree with me that the bank, the management, the board have done very, very well. And which also give us in earning, in deposit from customers, 11.37 billion as against 10. Loans are receivable from customers, 13.776 billion as against 10. Mr. Chairman, you couldn't imagine it. From big commercial banks. Some 38 cover, some were not even going to get dividend, as the case may be. But this is the first of microfinance bank in Nigeria that are still paying consistently, paying dividend year in, year out.
Yes.
Last year, what we paid 5 kobo was in anticipation that we were going to the market. I know the bank would have paid more higher, either 15 kobo there or 10 kobo. Since we are going to look for money, and board in its own wisdom, let's conserve this money since we are going to look for money. But unfortunately, we couldn't get approval in time until the economy started wobbling. We have yet not accessed that market since we are getting the approval by the shareholders to do a public offering and right issue, both combination, whatever the board decided. Mr. Chairman, in view of what the bank is doing, I think we should also going to look for a capital market to raise this fund, because this bank is doing very well. There are some states of the federation or some of the state capital that are present are not been filled, which also people are looking for this bank to be established, their presence to establish and do business. And without this money raising from fresh capital, we can't embark upon it. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm urging the board to continue to prepare for that market. Since we have been receiving dividend, shareholders and new incoming will be obliged to come into this bank to invest their hard-earned money, because this is a rewarding bank. Since the other commercial banks have failed, this one shall show example how to operate. We want to command the board to keep it up. They are doing a good job. Hey, Mr. Chairman, we're also going to be paid this dividend today. That's a good thing, that this board are not stingy. This board is liberal in their magnanimous wisdom that these dividends are paying today, considering the pandemic that are ravaging the world, including Nigeria, that people need their money to go and buy food stuff. That's what people are doing today. At least they must eat. So, Chairman, I commend you that these things are not going to pay tomorrow or next, but we are receiving it now, as soon as we are approving it. That solidifies how solid the bank is financially. Okay. Some bank or company will declare, we say we are getting this week, but I thank God that I have an able registrar. Before we leave this hall now, approval, they are sending the alert to shareholder that payment has made. Chairman, we should keep it up. Chairman, I cannot less agree with you on the chairman's comment, page 7 and page 9. This is a beautiful chairman's statement I've ever seen this year. Not telling us what's happening in Afghanistan, Americans, politics and that. Chairman have taken the pains, explained how the economy is not being favorable to the climate of companies operating in Nigeria. I stated that since we are oil dependent and oil dwindling fortunes, Nigeria is not smiling. Chairman has captured it all in this account. The future outlook on the chairman's statement, considering that we are going to spend a lot in IT. Today, not many shareholders will go to attend this meeting because of the pandemic in nature. And when they were locked down for past 3 months or 4 months, people doesn't go out, either by their ATM or their phone that says their money. That's the work of technology. I think that is area we should be driven in now. Technology to boost this bank image. And I know that the new ED now, which we're going to approve his approval today, shall ratify his appointment. I think it's also in that line, that technology. Mr. Chairman, it's going to be a new dawn for the bank to diplomacy technology in driving their business. Without digital, we can't make it. We can't be on top. I think that's the end thing, and it requires a lot of money. And that's why I'm saying that you must raise money to be able to do these good things. So the ATM, people go there, they will not get disappointed as to how to withdraw their money to do their business. Mr. Chairman, on page 29, I want to also commend the banks. Page 23 on donations. That this bank have been doing very well and reaching out to the society in which they operated. Mr. Chairman, this donation is commendable. In education, we have been doing that. In medical, we have been doing that. Police, follow more. The partial school of the blind, which is the poor, we have been doing that. Identify with them, including shareholders who was demised, who was in audit committee many years in this bank. I want to commend the bank for remembering its own. Is a good one. Mr. Chairman, that shows that yes, persons who have worked in an institution or served is being remembered. We want to commend the bank for looking at the police too, doing a lot of good job, because police, this is the product of the police. And the bank have not left them not to touch base. I want to commend you for that tradition, because this bank started from somewhere, and they must touch base to touch the life of the children in the barrack, in their schools, and the women. I want to commend the bank in that policy. Mr. Chairman, today is not day of talk because we have done very, very well. Let me also on page 91, administrative and general expenses. Mr. Chairman, you can see what I'm talking about here on computer expenses. On 95 million as against 76 in previous year. That means we need to invest more on technology to drive our bank. So these things must go up. Because of doing business in Nigeria, because of those things are not easy. You can see a change rate today. It's gone up. By the time we begin to computerize every night, this expense will go up at the end of the financial year. I want to also commend our auditors. KPMG are doing very well. Are not charging astronomically. They still retain that fees. But that's not to say, come next year, there might be increase. No, we should maintain. I want to commend them. What they are doing. Mr. Chairman, fraud and forgery. Yeah, this year on is lower considered last year. But we need to identify any of staff that are involved in forgery will be dealt with and punished accordingly. We cannot, even though this one is down, but let's do everything that staff welfare are taken care of. But even if we hire money, everything, those in their blood will still commit fraud. Except those is not in their blood system, or the GLA does not agree with fraud, they will not do it. No matter how you pay somebody who is genetized in the committing fraud or stealing, he must do so. So I want to commend the bank for bringing this forgery down, considering what we have last year. Mr. Chairman, other expenses, I think with the account we have this year, with what is spent 1.138 billion, in previous 1.267, it's not much, considering the way we do business, the high cost of doing business in Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, you can see electricity expenses is growing, and most on the day, the banks on generator, diesel, and we still pay electricity expenses. Diesel, running diesel every day. And look at what we pay to government in tax, education, income tax, education tax, National Information Technology Development Agency, etc., etc. Mr. Chairman, in all of these things, government is not doing anything to helping companies push on these things. That's the problem. What happened in this country, everything will turn to companies. Mr. Chairman, look at, we should also watch legal expenses. It's also going high. Legal expenses. We need to watch those things. Mr. Chairman, having said all these things, I think this bank ought to roll drums. And because we have performed beyond expectations, we have performed excellently. I want to commend the staff. It's our assets. And when we see staff expenditure, I don't give a quarrel. I don't give too much because they are working and they go in the bank. Because without them, we can't have this big cake today with the staff and the management. I need to commend the Kuemi-led team. He's been doing very excellent job. Mr. Chairman, you look at page 101 on the relationship. Insider related transactions. Mr. Chairman, I want to also commend I want to also commend the performance of these loans, include executives, which also take car loans and this and that. Mr. Chairman is performing. And when they are performing, they will be able to assess the loan as a staff for their welfare. To get property is their right. But the performance to get the yardstick, lawlessness. Mr. Chairman, I want to say that since your session on board, you have not let the bank down. You have been doing a good job, like your predecessor in office, to making sure that this bank stay afloat and doing very well. I want to commend you for your leadership style. I want to commend the company secretary for at least making sure that this annual report gets out to the registrars, making sure that we get the process right around and have this AGM today. All the arrangements have made and the secretariat, I want to commend them. Even when she will be all and on, I say, Madam, continue. After this AGM, you go and rest and take her time. She have done very well. The group ND, the executive directors, I want to commend them for their able leadership. The audit committee chairman and his team have done so well. Baba, our own, I think we can't fault him when he's there. He will look thorough. I want to commend them. Then commend directors. You have seen the way they operate. I want to commend you to do your best so that dividend will be higher come next year. I know the COVID have battered us a lot, but notwithstanding that, we will do well come next year. Mr. Chairman, I want to commend you and say God bless all of us that are here today and keep us alive to next year. Amen. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chairman, and all shareholders present here. Good morning, our regulatory authorities. I say good morning to all of us. My name is Mrs. Temilade Durojaye. I'm the treasurer of Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria. And at this meeting, I represent Sir Sonny Nwosu, who is the National Coordinator Emeritus of the association. He has sent in his apology. I will be taking our observations on his behalf and our questions too. First and foremost, we want to congratulate the board and the entire staff on the big and good cake we are all sharing today. Like Mr. Okeze said, if you look at the financial highlights, all the indices are very, very good. They are very, very good. And we say to everybody, the workforce, the board members and the management, that well done. And we hope we keep this performance up by the grace of God. Now, when we look at that financial highlights page, like I said, the only dissentive thing there is just that we laid off 25 of our staff members. There was a decrease in the number of staff. And even with the 35% increase in salaries of staff, we had reduction of 25. There is nothing wrong in letting staff, you have your modalities, you have all that you need to do to ensure that you keep your staff. But then we want to appeal that we should please, especially at this period, situation that we all find ourselves in the whole world, let's try as much as possible to keep our staff and not please add to the challenges of the labor market. We will really appreciate that. Now I want to go to page 5 of the annual report, which has the notice of meeting. I observed one important thing, even though it's minor, it's minute, but I'm happy that when the chairman was reading from the papers they gave him, he changed that word. He didn't use the word period. When you are reporting by your financial circle, you cannot be using period ended. You will use the year ended. Please, let's take note of that. Then also on this particular page, there's something that is very, very important, the remunerations of the directors. It is also missing. We will not know why unless you explain to us. So we'll be waiting for that explanation as to that. Even though we observe that on page 90, there is actually significant increase in directors' fees and emolument. We are not quarreling with that. We appreciate the good cake they are baking. And to whom much is given, much is expected. We say thank you. Now, when we look at, I want to go back to page 4. The composition of the board. The composition of the board. And I'll be talking on the line of gender sensitivity. We have just one female member on board. This is actually below the regulatory requirement. We should at least have 30%. On the management side, we are doing very well. We have 5/15, and that's a good one. We say thank you, and please take note of the one on the board composition. We also commend the
Why are you not listening to
management
our? Why are you not in our meeting?
that we did not pay any penalty in the year under review to our regulators. That shows that our staff are doing very well. They are applying the policies as they have been told to do so, and they are submitting their reports as and when due ends if they are not paid any penalty. We say they should please keep this up. Now, talking on the financials. We said we have performed very, very well. We have done well. But then, like the saying goes, we should continue to strive to even do better, because the more we do, the more we'll be able to give to investors. So on other income, we have observation there on other income, and that is on page 89. This other income increased by 21.6% or 55.37 million to 311.66 million in 2019 from 256.29 million of 2018. And looking at the breakdown there, we saw there was an income that we call salary administration. Why we commend this, we just want to ask, is this a legitimate income? Because we say we charge 300 and 500. Is it being borne by our customers, or is it being borne by their employers? We would like to know. Then on impairments, in fact, we are very, very happy to see that in the previous year, we actually had increase in provision. But in 2019, we had a write back of 311. So we say well done to the recovery team, and we want them to still pursue toxic loans to ensure that we recover them. That will actually enhance our profitability. Mr. Okezie has talked extensively on the administrative expenses, but I would just want to add, for as much as we can, let's put all controllables in check. All controllable costs, let's put them in check. That will enhance our profitability. Investment securities. Our total assets increased significantly. And one of the aspects that increased significantly is investment securities. This increased by 206.97% or 602.45 million from 291 million in 2018 to 893.53 million in 2019. We appreciate that, as we say, this is quite good, as this is a secure way of earning sustainable income. On the other liabilities, we saw a very significant increase in other liabilities, and it has to do with productivity bonus. Productivity bonus, this increased by 924.95% or 271 million from 29.3 million in 2018 to 300.3 million in 2019. We will just like further explanation on this to better our understanding. The regulatory ratios, as we see on page 5, and in some of the pages 81, 82, 99 to 100, they are quite good. And one of such is our capital adequacy ratio. We say we congratulate the team. And also, we observed to our delight that we did not even wait till 2021, which will be the effective date of the increase in capital. We are already above this 5 billion requirement. We are above. We are about 5.4 billion. We say congratulations. Our earnings and dividend is quite good. Now, taking our number of branches, we have also increased number of branches, and this cuts across geopolitical zones of the country. That is to enhance our earnings and our profitability. Board changes, we are welcoming the new directors on board, and we hope that they will actually bring their experience to better this company. We want to be receiving good dividends, better dividend. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, I was actually going to comment on the related party, the lost loans. But when I realized that that was due to one of the staff that died within the year, and we want to just kind of send a sympathy, a condolence message to that family, and we pray that God will grant them the fortitude to bear their loss. On the last note, I want to pray to God to keep all of us, to keep our nation, Nigeria, and to keep the board, the management, and staff of this company. And we pray that come next year, I will not be representing Sahunwosu. I will come in my capacity as a shareholder by the grace of God. And I hope to see all of us here in 2021 for the 2020 annual general meeting, and with a better result by the grace of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, the members of the board, and the regulator authority present, and other shareholders that represent other shareholders. My name is Mrs. Obide, National Coordinator of ACK of God Shareholder Association Incorporated. Sir, I would like to talk on your vision and mission. It's quite appreciative. In page 2, our companies has increased from 28 to 36 branches. So my suggestion that Okafo, close to Badagry, there are many industries there and there is no bank. I am advising the company to use this opportunity. Okafo, I am advising the company to use this opportunity and have a branch there so that people can have opportunity in savings and getting some. Shareholder who has not brought this microfinance should be advised to buy. The microfinance my father bought, it was 70 kobo. Then he has collected his money and dividend of 450% higher than the price he purchased. Page 3, sir. The financial highlight is positive and towards, no, sorry, page 8. The board and the director of our company, on behalf of the shareholder, I say thank you for the recommendation of the dividend. The shareholder we are sending message to the board and the director of the Mr. Jude, the late Jude. Help us send our condolence on behalf of the shareholder. My advice to the incoming director of this company should do more so that we can collect. We will not be taking kobo. The kobo nowadays is not valid. We want our profitability to raise to Naira. Mr. Jude has been good to this company and he has done a lot of job. The incoming director that is taking his job should work very well, sir. We are advising you to contribute more as Mr. Jude has contributed in this company. Page 9. Mm-hmm. 25. Page 25. In page 25, the first paragraph, the male gender is 19, while the female gender is 7. Sir, we advise you to look into that. You know, microfinance bank is a kind of advising people, telling them, urging them, and female are more better in advertisement. So we want to look into that. 19 to 7 is too small. Give female opportunity in that aspect. Thank you very much.
Chairman, the Board of Directors, shareholders present, regulatory authorities here present. I'm Additional Tajuddin Imran, Secretary, Noble Shareholder Solidarity Association. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the board for the cake we are sharing today, 20 kobo dividend. forward ever, backward never. On the issue of the right issue Mr. Okeze raised, I will advise that we should engage the service of professionals, that is reputable issuing house, whenever we want to do it. And also, we need to fix a reasonable price at this time when shareholders are having buoyant dividend. I will borrow a leaf from page 37 of external report of external consultant in appreciating you. It goes thus. We affirm and commend the board commitments toward enthroning best practices and ensuring that the principle of sound corporate governance practice are embedded in all aspects of the bank's activities and operations. This is one of the reasons why we evaded penalty this time around. Let us keep it up. Also, I will need to congratulate the board and management for the opening of additional branches. But my concern is that in spite of the, on page 24, in spite of the series of training and retraining in the year under review, the staff turnover. I don't know what happened. Maybe some of them decided to leave, or our condition is not palatable to them. So I think a lot have been said. Chairman and the board, I really appreciate your efforts towards the case we are sharing. And lastly, on page 12, this is our products, personnel after service accounts. I think is being known by police force alone. We can extend it to other paramilitary agencies in Lagos State and other states, like LASMA, CAI, and other paramilitary agencies. We are going to, we can get a market share out of this. That's my observation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for these questions. I think if I think I will hand over to the managing director to answer those questions. If there are any areas I will come in, I can come in later. But why don't my MD can sit down now?
No?
Good day, good afternoon, distinguished shareholders, present and those who are viewing worldwide. I first and foremost need to appreciate all the kudos and commendations from the shareholder present and the encounter they have poured on the board and management. I just need to reiterate that it is in our character at any particular point in time to ensure that we deliver on our promises. And it is not far from the fact that the board and management is focused, is strategically focused, and determined at any particular point in time to continue to roll out our standing results. And that, we believe, is what we are assuring you that consistently at all times we continue to roll out results that will be satisfactory to our shareholders and all stakeholders. Having said that, I appreciate all the comments that have also been in the area of work. Mr. Boniface Okeze, we talk about money donation, commending us is also in our character to look at all stakeholders, to look at our primary constituency and all other institutions as part of our corporate responsibility to ensure that we also extend the hand of hand of, how do I put it now? Charity and care to our environment. Yeah, we talk about staff fraud. I want to assure you that it is in the principle of the bank that we have zero tolerance for fraud, and staff that in any way found to be culpable in any area are dealt with in line with the provisions of the manual. Staff loan performing. I want to actually assure you that, as pointed out, that in the annual report for 2019, that director loan in question have been fully recovered. Going to Mrs. Temilade, yeah, you also commended the bank. We appreciate you, and you talk about staff being laid off. We never laid off any staff. In fact, if we have to look at the activities of the bank, staff attrition ratio is very low, but staff in cost, we will not stop any staff in moving ahead. The 25 staff in question have left the organization mostly on their own volition. Maybe these days there is an attraction in most staff, most young men seeing solars in Canada one way or the other. You find some them traveling out, and then so we have not actually laid off any staff, but most of the staff have resigned on their own for greener pasture elsewhere. And of course, staff that we have found culpable in one way or the other are also dealt with in line with the policy of the bank. You talk about remuneration of the directors. I'll just simply say that if you look at the pedigree of people we have on board, there are no misfits. They are men of timber and caliber in their own right, and to attract that person, you need to do something reasonable, not even compensating, not even enough to measure up their commitment and time into the organization, but something just reasonable to encourage them to continue to give their valuable time to the organization. We noted the issue of dental sensitive on the board. I'm sure the board is a listening board, and they will look at it as an opportunity arise in the future. Okay, you asked a question about other incomes. I want to assure you, just like you see, it's an highly ethical organization. We only taking incomes that are desirable, allowed by Central Bank of Nigeria. Yes, in the area of salary administration, that was allowed as an income up to 2019 December. With the new bank charges effective 2020, those ones have been removed. But as at the time up to 2019, is a legitimate income to charge reasonable on salary administration. You also mentioned on one area of in terms of productivity bonus. Like you have rightly all said here, that this was an excellent performance on the part of the bank, and for a total number of starting with 374 and ending with about 350 staff, I think the amount in question is just to show appreciation for the performance of the bank, for the staff who have rolled out this performance, it is it's not out of place to show appreciation for a job well done. And board has been so magnanimous in that aspect to show appreciation to staff, to ensure that when we perform well, we have a piece of the cake, just like what we are doing right now to ensure that, like all stakeholders, are also preferably benefit from the performance of the bank, paying the 20 kobo dividend. So basically, I think those are the issues you have raised that I've tried to address, but majorly you have actually commended the bank for a job well done. And the assurance that we give is to assure you that we are focused, the board and management is focused to ensure that we continue to dole out outstanding performance. And we assure them. Thank you very much.
Okay, before we conclude this aspect of this, I want to thank you for your questions and your comments. And you have had the answers that has been ably provided by the managing director of the bank. The bank, the NPF Microfinance Bank, has not been resting on its oars for some time now. We have rolled out strategic plans. We have worked assiduously, the board, the management, everybody's hand has always been on deck because we are very, very conscious of what is happening in the country. We have a serious, competitors and all those things. And the bank started, you all know the history of the bank, and it has been grown to this extent. And we are not even, those of us that are involved now, plus those that have been involved in the past, they have not always been satisfied with this, the situation where they were, So we are all going to continue to work assiduously to grow the bank to the extent that, it will be one of the best banks, not only in Nigeria, but worldwide, So, so I want to say something about, Mr. Okeze talked about digitalization. A lot has been done about digitalization and, making sure that we utilize the IT components to make sure that the bank is doing very, very well. There are there are some complaints and they are being taken care of. And, the digitalization aspect is going to be a thing of the past because action is already in the pipeline to make sure that we do that. The issue of coming to the capital market, it's in the pipeline. But we have, with this pandemic and other things, there are so many variables and so on and so forth. But one way or the other, the bank is ready. We are ready for coming out at the market. So we are looking forward to the regulators to give us the go-ahead when it is proper and when it is plausible. The issue of a productivity bonus, like the MD said, is a worldwide, is a universal concept where you have to compensate and appreciate your workers at the end of every year. And it is even backed by law, by the labor law, World Labor Organization and so on and so forth. There are provisions for you to take care of your workers who have contributed in building the company, in making profit and so on and so forth. And it is their right to participate in the profits that the concern is being made, not only in the banks, but other corporate entities. So those are the things I want to add. And on that note, I want to thank you all very much for this session, for your contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your response. I have a question. Why we don't have this on the agenda to approve the regulations is missing on the agenda. Do we have the authority?
Okay, say something on that.
Okay, the question as to why there is no director remuneration on page 5. Answer is provided as such that this is a regulatory issue on CAC guideline, and that no special business should be considered at AGM by proxy. So the director's fee for this year remains as approved as at the last AGM.
It is in line. The meetings are in this year.
Well, it's only that we are on this thing. This something is streaming, and I cannot start saying something aside. The directors' fees have been fixed, and when you compare it with other people, you have to even pity the directors. So thank you very much. So it's on that note that I hereby declare the annual reports and accounts of the company for the year ended 31st December 2019 to be and is hereby received. Yes.
Somebody has to second the motion. Because you are moving.
Yes.
So I have a right to second the motion. Mr. Chairman, I would like to second that motion, Mr. Kezia Boniface, in the account.
Thank you very much. We have now come to the ordinary business of the meeting, which requires us to vote. So in accordance with section 2241 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, I, as the chairman of the meeting, hereby call for a poll in respect of the remaining items on the agenda, except item 7, which is a selection of members of the audit committee. Given that all resolutions before us today are ordinary resolutions, please note that the simple majority vote will be required to pass each resolution. At this juncture, I would like to call on the representative of the registrars, Mr. Ayola Adeola, for a brief explanation on the electronic voting system.
Thank you, Chairman. We've distributed the voting pads to all shareholders present at this meeting. On the voting pad, the first 3 buttons are the buttons we're going to work with for the polling. Buttons 1, 1A, 2B, and 3C. 1A has a green mark on it. If you are voting in favor of a resolution, you press 1, which is the green color, number 1. If you are voting against a resolution, you press number 2. It has a red strip on it. If you are abstaining from a resolution, you press number 3. Once you select your voting pattern, you have to press the OK button at the top left. Once you select your voting pattern, please remember to press the OK button to be able to send your vote in. The last vote is what the system recognizes as your vote in favor of a certain resolution. Please, once you select either your number one, number two, number three, remember pressing the OK button. If you don't press the OK button, the system does not recognize that you have voted. I don't know if there's any question on this.
No question.
Thank you, Chairman.
So, thank you very much, Registrar. In line with the Registrar's brief, kindly use the voting device to cast your vote as we proceed to the agenda items. To facilitate the business of the day, I will now move each motion and invite a seconder from the floor. A seconder should state his or her name to enable the company secretary take appropriate notes. Agenda item, declaration of dividend. Ladies and gentlemen, in view of the results in the accounts, the directors in their report before you is recommending to members for approval the declaration of dividend in the total sum of 457 million naira, representing 20 kobo per 50 kobo ordinary share of the bank. Such dividend is to be taken out of the amount standing as credit in the profit and loss account and is subject to deduction of 10% withholding tax payable to the relevant authorities. I hereby propose the motion that a dividend of 20 kobo per ordinary share of 50 kobo recommended in the report of the directors for the year ended 31st December 2019 be and is hereby declared payable to shareholders whose names appeared in the register of members at the close of business on Tuesday, 16th June 2020. Would someone please second the motion? Okay.
I, additional Tajuddin, I second the motion.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any comments or questions to ask concerning the motion? All right. I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device. Yes.
Yes, please.
You use the voting device as you have been briefed. So you vote only once?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The polling has closed. The voting process has ended for the resolution, sir. With your permission, I would want to read out the results of the poll.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. For the second resolution to declare a dividend for the financial year ended 31st December 2019, we have a total of 100% vote in favor of the resolution. For 1,509,013,249 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC for total votes both by proxy and in person at this meeting. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. So I now declare the resolution carried unanimously. Thank you. At this juncture, because the next item will require my on stepping down. So at this juncture, I want to bring the issue of Mr. Jude, the former executive director of operations, the NPF Microfinance Bank PLC, who was called to glory, who died last year. Everybody, everybody, we put in everything to see that he gets well, but God called him.
Not a problem.
Not question God. So we lost him last year. We have been observing mini silence in various fora, and we have been pouring a communes on him on the respect of his contributions, the contributions he made in the growth of the bank, just like his other colleagues have been doing. So at this juncture, I want to bring up this information to let everybody know about it, and for us to rise and observe 1 minute silence in the soul of the departed rest in perfect peace. Amen. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is re-election approval of director's appointment. The next, as I am also one of those standing for re-election, I would like to stand down and now hand over to another director in the person of Mr. A.M. Lawal to take over proceedings.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, distinguished shareholders, in accordance with Section 259 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, the following non-executive directors are offering themselves for re-election. They are: 1, Mr. Mohammed D. Said; 2, Mr. Azubuko Joel Uda; and 3rd, Mr. Jubrin Gaba Ghana. I hereby propose the following resolution: that Mr. Mohammed D. Said be and is hereby reappointed as a director. Will someone please second the resolution?
I write to second the motion, Mr. Kizia Boniface, that Mohammed D. Said be re-elected as a director of our company.
Thank you. I will now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the following device, please. Using the voting device. Okay, I now call on the registrar to display and announce the result, please.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to elect Mr. Mohammed D. Said as director, We have a total of 100% vote, both by proxy and in person, in favor of the resolution for 1,509,016,249 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
Thank you. I declare the resolution carried unanimously. I hereby propose that Mr. Azubuko Joel Uda be and is hereby reappointed as a director. Will someone please second this motion? Okay, Mr. Obide. Thank you, Mr. Obide. I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device, please. Okay, I now call on the registrar to display and announce the result, please.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Azubuko Joel Uda as director, we have a total of 100% vote, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, in favor of the resolution for 1,509,013,249 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
Thank you, Registrar. I declare the resolution carried unanimously. I hereby also propose that Mr. Jibrin Gabagana be and is hereby reappointed as a director. Will someone please second this motion? Okay.
I, additional Tajudeen, hereby propose that Mr. Jibrin, second that Mr. Jibrin Garba Gani be re-elected as director.
Thank you, Mr. Additional. I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device, please. I call on the registrar to announce the results.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to re-elect Mr. Jibrin Gaba Gane as director, we have a total of 100% votes, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, in favor of the resolution for 1,504,896,249 units of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
So I declare the resolution carried unanimously. Having reappointed the three directors, I would like to hand over the proceeding to Mr. Uda, who the director have agreed should remain as chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for reappointing me and other directors. I will now proceed with the other items of the agenda. The item 4 on the agenda, to approve the appointment of Mr. Aminu Saleh Pai as a non-executive director to fill the vacancy created by the exit of Mr. Dasuki D. Galadanti. The directors, in line with provisions of Section 249(1) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, appointed Mr. Aminu Salepai, who was nominated in his stead to represent the Police Cooperative Society Limited. In compliance with Section 248 and 2491 of CAMA 2004, the board hereby recommends for your approval the appointment of Mr. Aminu Salepai. His profile is on page 18 of the annual report. I hereby propose the following resolutions: that the appointment of Mr. Aminu Salepai as a director to represent the interests of the Police Cooperative Society Limited be and is hereby approved. Would someone please second the resolution? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I hereby second the motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Aminu Salepai as the director of our great bank.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kezie. I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device, please. Please register now.
Thank you, Chairman. The voting process has now ended. With your permission, I will announce the results.
Okay.
For the resolution to approve the appointment of Mr. Aminu Salepai as a non-executive director, we have a total of 100% vote in favor of the resolution, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, for 1,503,867,388 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
Thank you. So we go to item 5 to approve the appointment of Mr. John Kwabe Tize as executive director. Also, in order to fill the vacancy created by the death of Mr. Jude Chukweloka Ohanehi, the board appointed Mr. John Kwabe Tize as an executive director. In compliance with Section 248 and 2491 of CAMA 2004, the board hereby recommends for your approval the appointment of Mr. John Kwabe Tize. His profile is on page 15 of the annual report. I also propose that the appointment of Mr. John Kwabe Tize as an executive director be and is hereby approved. Would someone please second the resolution? Okay.
I rise to second the motion of Mr. John to approve him as a director.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. CEO Bide.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Olatunde. And I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device, please. So the registrar to announce the result later.
Thank you, Chairman. The voting has ended. With your permission, we want to announce the
Carry
result.
on.
Thank you. For the resolution to approve the appointment of Mr. John Kwabetize as an executive director. We have a total of 100% of the votes, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, in favor of the resolution for 1,508,893,249 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare the resolution carried unanimously. The directors of the bank offering themselves for re-election have been reappointed as directors. Also, the appointment of two new directors, Mr. Aminu Saleh Pai and Mr. John Kwabetize, have been approved by this meeting. I, on behalf of the board, thank you very much for the confidence reposed in us, and we assure you that we will continue to bring our wealth of experience to bear for the growth of the bank. Thank you very much. We go to item 6. The auditors, Messrs. KPMG, Professional Services, have indicated their willingness to continue in office and are hereby reappointed in accordance with Section 3571 of CAMA 2004. The next resolution I shall formally propose is that the directors be authorized in accordance with Section 361 of CAMA 2004 to fix the remuneration of the auditors, Messrs. KPMG Professional Services. Will someone please second this resolution? Okay, you.
I, Additional Tajudeen, I second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting. You may now vote using the voting device. Please. I now call on the registrar to display and announce the result, please.
Thank you, Chairman. For the resolution to authorize directors to fix the remuneration of auditors, we have a total of 100% vote, both by proxy and in person at this meeting, in favor of the resolution for 1,509,013,249 units of shares of NPF Microfinance Bank PLC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hereby declare the resolution carried unanimously. We go to item 7, election of members of the audit committee. The last item on the agenda is election of members of the audit committee. In accordance with section 3594 and 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2004, members of the audit committee are to be elected annually. The following directors have been appointed to represent the board on the audit committee. Number 1, Mr. Abdurrahman Satumari. And number 2, Mr. Aminu Saleh Pai. Only 2 valid nominations were received by the company secretary from shareholders. And the following shareholders were nominated in accordance with section 3595 of CAMA 2004. They are 1, Chief Timothy Adesia. 2, Mr. Abdul Kadir Sani. Since there were no more than 2 valid nominations, there shall be no election. Also, as the 2 valid nominations are currently members of the audit committee, they will be returned unopposed. I therefore move that Chief Timothy Adesina, Mr. Abdul Kadiri Sani, Mr. Aminu Saleh Pai, and Mr. Abdurrahman Satumari B, and are hereby elected as members of the audit committee. Would someone second the motion? Okay.
Boniface.
Okay. Have you done it already? It's already recorded. Thank you. It will. Yeah. I hereby declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have completed the business for which statutory notice was given. I thank you all for attending the 26th annual general meeting and for taking interest in the company affairs. I now declare the meeting closed. On behalf of the board of directors, the management and staff of the bank, I wish all safe journey to your various destinations. Will someone please say the closing prayers? Okay.
Audio in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Our Father and our God, we want to appreciate you for the gift of life. We thank you, Father, for bringing us here safely to deliberate on the affairs of our great bank. We pray, King of Glory, that you will spare all our lives, the management, the board, and the entire staff of this bank, that they will continue to bake good cake for us all to share from it in Jesus' name. Amen. Lord, we are praying that come next year, when you will count us, none of us will be missing. Amen. To this COVID-19 pandemic, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. As we go now, we pray that you go with us in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, everlasting King of Glory, for your faithfulness and protection over all our lives. For we pray in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen. May we all rise for the national anthem.
Okay. Definition.
You can all log out now. It was a great success. Congratulations to NPF family. Congratulations to everyone. We'll record whatever reports this year in Jesus' name.
With COVID-19.
No, God will favor us.
Amen.
Congratulations,
God.
everyone. Congratulations. So we can log out.
Madam AGM food. AGM food.
AGM food.
Madam AGM
Log
food.
out.
AGM food.
They can hear you.
Madam Fati AGM food. AGM food.
Don't worry, MD will do something.
Let the party start. I beg.
MD will do something. Go back to work. Go back to work, everybody. Thank you for logging.
Madam Grace, please bring our
Item 7, please.
Now, party.